Well, good evening. You've joined us for the final of the British Cycling Northeast Time Trial presented by Manilla Cycling. These riders have around about a 0.2k run into the start before they actually make a start on this 24.7 kilometre circuit. Usual format. We'll just follow a few of the riders. These guys have actually now crossed the start-finish banner, so are now on course on the Innsbrook circuit. This was used in the 2018 UCI World Championships, and it has one stinker of a climb. A very flat run out of the town of Inn, believe it or not. They'll head out of town, over the river, under the autobahn, and then they will start the big climb. You will see a red banner across the road where this will start. We'll have a quick flick back through the field, just following Sarah Hamilton there from one of the British Cycling Northeast clubs. A few of the NTR juniors in, with Rick King from MTS there. Rick's been in the top 10 pretty much every week, so we'll be hoping for a good result here. The added bonus of this is we will get to see a UCI lap time at the end, so we'll have an idea of where people will finish and how they've got on. That yellow beacon in the background there was Adam Brooks, obviously the event organiser and principal for Manilla Cycling. He'll be on course, so you'll be able to see where he is by that yellow beacon as we switch between these riders. Now there's quite a lot of tactics playing out in these the last few rounds, where riders have been slowing down before the start to actually enable themselves to chase people down, should we say. This is James Mayo from Stockton Wheelers. Like I say, these riders are now all out on course. Quite a long course with quite a very steep climb in it. Not something you would usually see in a time trial. It's definitely a one for the lighter weight riders. I'm going to drop back and catch up with Adam. He's got the yellow banner there above his name. Now this was our test event around about 8 weeks ago. This was the event that we used and made the decision that we were going to run a time trial. It gave us a bit of an idea of how we were going to do the events and run them. So it seems fitting that we finish the event and finish the series on this. Obviously the results will be out in the coming days. But this video will go live probably either later on this evening or tomorrow for everyone to see on YouTube. We'll see that Zwift Hotel a bit later on again as the riders come back into town. They go past the stadium and then they go over the bridge. Then they take a left and start a gradual climb. Looks like Brooks is on a mission tonight. Drop back to Oran Newbury from Manilla. Obviously these riders are all on their TT bikes, so there's no drafting, so it doesn't matter how close they get to each other, they will not feel a benefit of drafting because they're on a TT bike and it's them against the clock. They're now turning left now under the autobahn, which they've just gone under. They'll take a left and then they will start the climb. The climb is 7.4 kilometers long, few switchbacks with an average gradient of 5.4%. So these riders now are at the bottom of that climb, and you will see there'll be a banner on the a red banner across the bottom of the road. Paul Best in his familiar pink, yellow and blue jersey from Manilla. And that is the start there of the King of the Mountains climb. So as we progress through this, we will get results of people as they get to the top of this climb to give us an idea of where they are out on the road currently. Just coming up pretty fast behind Paul there, we've got Marcel Jabert, who is riding for Darlington Cycling Club, who I would expect to place definitely in the top 3 within this event. He's performed outstanding over the last 6 weeks, and he's been the poster boy for the event on YouTube as well. Just going past Paul Best there from Manilla Cycling. And the next person in his sight is Charlie Few from NTR, and he's making light work of these riders. We've got Dave Quinn, James Durham from VO2 Max. Coming up to James Mayo and Owen Newbury and Nick Hale are the next riders in his sights, and then Adam Brooks just in front of him. We'll leave Marcel to partake in his climb, picking off these riders one by one, and we'll drop back a little bit further through the field. We'll drop back to Craig Fairbairn from NTR. With Will Maisie from NTR Juniors just coming up alongside him and going past. We have Ian Johnson from Manilla Cycling there, put in a really good performance the last few weeks, duking it out with 2 other Manilla riders in Howie Murray and 1 other Manilla rider to vie for the top spot of that. I've just had a quick look through the list there, and I don't seem to be able to see James Wilson from Manilla. Maybe he hasn't started the race this evening, but he's put in some top performances for Manilla these last few weeks, and definitely up there in the top 10. Following Sarah Hamilton now. These riders are, like I say, on that climb. 5% is the gradient currently, averaging 5.4. We've got Marcel 5 seconds back on Sarah, aiming to catch her and then pass her on his hunt to the top. Some of the sections of this climb do reach an eye-watering 10%. So there's Marcel there, just coming up behind Sarah. Further up the road we have Ben White from Stockton Wheelers, Rick King and Jack Van Der Werf, all around about 20 seconds up the road from Marcel currently. We'll jump ahead and catch up with Rick King from NTS. Out of the saddle, digging deep. This percentage is up to 11% in this little climb as they take it through the houses. Somebody's issuing the ride-ons there. So Rick King is currently the head of these riders on the road as we speak. Doesn't necessarily mean he's got the fastest time currently, but he's the head of the race. And we'll get an idea when we get to the top of this climb as to where these riders will be slotting in, and give us a good indication of their times. We've got Jack van der Werf just gone past Rick King there from MTS. All these riders riding with either power meters or smart turbo trainers, which is signified by the little lightning bolt under their name with a watts per kilo next to it. And then just above that graphic on the right hand side you can see the profile for today's route. It was flat, it goes up, it goes down, and it is flat. These riders are not even halfway up currently, just coming through the first village, and the switchbacks will start. We'll drop back, catch up with Adam Brooks from Manilla Cycling. Plenty of ride-ons in his back pocket. We'll catch up with Phil Utley from BRT. And I've just noticed we have Howie Murray, or did make the start line there, hot on the heels of Ian Johnson. And both these riders, like I say, vying for top spot with Manilla. Howie in his familiar all black kit there, being a Kiwi. So we were only missing James Wilson from the Manilla trio of top riders currently. He may appear later in the race. He may have played his tactics out, but we shall see. It's definitely a one for the lighter riders, this one, holding their power up this big climb. Whether they can make it up on the descent, the heavier riders, we shall see. They do reach some pretty impressive speeds coming down the back of this climb, but the front of the race is around about halfway up this climb now. Howie Murray's currently around about 1 minute from the front of this race. Not necessarily, like I say, the riders that got the fastest time, but currently on the road. Got Owen Newbury there from Manilla Cycling. Paul Best hot on his heels. Most of these riders choosing to ride the Cervelo TT bike. And there's Paul out of the saddle, just making up a few metres on Owen. In the background we've got Charlie Thew there from NTR, with David Quinn and Nick Hale all chasing down these riders. We've got the data there on the left, the King of the Mountains, 6%, 7.4 kilometres. We'll drop back through this field, catch up with a few of the riders towards the rear. This is Edward Kingsley from WTRL, chasing down Benjamin Box, John Horlock and Ian Katz from VO2 Max. These riders are all within seconds of each other. Edward Kingsley with the familiar kit there, wearing the same kit and riding the same bike with the same wheels as Marcel Chabert, though both those riders from Darlington Cycling Club, and currently have their team in the with just the two riders, currently have their team in the top 10 for this event. If they'd have had one more rider, they would have been secure in probably the top spot, given the positions that these two normally finish within these events. Both really strong time trialers. So we'll just drop back now to Ian Katz from VO2 Max race team. You've got Katie Otterson from NTR, closely followed by Will Macy from NTR Juniors, with Cheryl Merry from Stockton Wheelers behind. Literally, these riders are all within a couple of seconds of each other. You can see from the overhead shot there. Drop back to Millie Diddy from NTR Juniors. Quite a lot of these NTR Juniors riders have raced the full series, putting in top performances right the way through the 6 weeks that we've had. Drop back to Jace Shipton from Manilla Cycling. Jason's turned in, week out, putting in big efforts and big performances. David Grant from Stockton Wheelers. This part of the circuit's obviously a very slow, draggy part of the circuit. Coming down the back of this climb is obviously the fast part, but it's not done once they get there. They've still got half a lap round the circuit in the town to get back to the start finish area. And drop back to Colin Hogan. And then just behind him we have two Manilla riders of Nick Priest and Gary Sieves, both from Manilla. Just past Mason Buffton from NTR Junior. Nick chose the Scott TT bike there. And then we've got Matthew Best. Matthew rode in the test event that we did around about 8 weeks ago, so he knows this circuit, he knows what he's got to do, and we know his dad will be there giving him advice and tips. Stood beside him, probably with his cup of coffee in his hand. Just behind Matthew there we've got Vanessa Cox from Manila. Vanessa's had a few technical issues, shall we say, over the last few events. And then drop back to Dave Jeffrey. Dave took part in as well in this test event. He knows this route and he's pacing himself really well. Incidentally, the times that have been set on Zwift recently for this event, for the actual climb itself, is a guy called Mark Frey, and he's done this climb in 10 minutes and 47 seconds. Obviously that will probably be on a road bike, a lightweight road bike, not a full TT rig. So we're probably looking at something a little bit longer than that. And then for the ladies, it was Laura Pfeiffer at 16 minutes and 11 seconds. Again, probably during a race or with a lighter bike than what these riders are riding tonight. But Natalie Connor there, just catching up to Hamish from NTR Juniors. We'll have a quick flick back through this and we'll jump back to the front of the race as these riders approach the top of this climb. That yellow beacon up in front there obviously is the beacon for Adam Brooks. We'll jump on with Howie Murray towards the front of this race. Up in front of him are the usual suspects of Rick King from MTS and Marcel Chabert from Darlington. Those riders are both neck and neck on this climb, with Rick King just sitting at the front. Marcel literally 1 second behind him. And there's Marcel just coming through now. Marcel likes to sit at the back for the beginning part of it, let everyone cross the start finish line and then slowly reel everyone in. I've noticed that over the last few weeks, that's the way he rides his time trials. Marcel's just pulling out a few seconds there on Rick King. And then we've got Edward Kingsley coming through, who is obviously Marcel's teammate. Rick King's obviously got other ideas and has no intention of letting Marcel escape as they reach the crest of this climb. Not far to go, they'll pass through, it'll level off slightly. More of a false flat than an actual flat. You'll be able to see the banners up in front as we approach them. There'll be a red arch over the road which will signify that they're at the top of the climb, and then they will start the descent. This will give us an idea of where these riders are on the road, but also as they approach the King of the Mountains climb, it will give us a time for this current lap of where they started at the bottom and obviously where they ride at the top. Not far away from the top, and as it levels out, Marcel's pulled out around about 10 seconds from Rick King there. We'll jump forward to Marcel. He'll pass through these trees, and just in the distance there you can see the red arch in the centre of screen. That will signify that he has made the top. He will go around the corner to the right. On the left hand side he'll pass the, I think it's the waterfalls at the top of this climb. Not far to go now, probably around about 100 metres as he passes this board, which is now on our left, on his right. All out effort to take. Will he want to take the King of the Mountains jersey? Well, he will straight away. He seems to be the first one to pass it. 100 metres to go as he crosses the line now. and that will give us a time on the left of 19 minutes and 19 seconds. As he crests the hill past the waterfall on his left, and then starts his descent, pulling out over nearly a minute on Rick King from MTS. Rick King's time was 20 minutes and 6 seconds. So these riders are now fast descending into the valley and back into the town of Inn. We'll drop back and just catch up with these riders coming across the top now. So we've got Edward Kingsley. Like I say, this is Marcel's teammate from Darlington. Jack van der Werf went over in 20 minutes and 27 seconds. Edward could put in a good time here with Howie Murray just behind him. Both these riders I would expect to remain in the top 10 at least, if not higher. They've both put good performances in on this climb. There's Joe from Bladen. He's put his time in there as 19 minutes 56 seconds, so he's jumped into second place. I think Edward will maybe leapfrog him and drop him behind Marcel. We'll see where he drops there. He's took the King of the Mountains jersey from Marcel by 9 seconds. 9 seconds exactly. 19 minutes and 11 seconds. It's looking good for Edward Kingsley there to maybe take the win this week. We shall see as he passes the waterfall. We shall drop back 20-30 seconds to Howie Murray. See what time Howie puts in. He puts in a 20 minutes and 58 seconds for his climb. See what Howie does on his descent. We'll drop back to Ian Johnson from Manilla Cycling, with Sarah Hamilton just in front of him, with Charlie Few from NTR just coming past him as they approach the summit of this climb. We've got Phil Utley from BRT there, 22 minutes 28. Sarah Hamilton, 22 minutes 29 seconds. These riders are all very, very close together, with Ian Johnson putting his time in as 22 minutes and 6 seconds. Adam Brooks was next one over the top there with a 22:36. We'll drop back. We've got Paul Best from Manila. Paced his climb really well. See where that puts him in the overall standings on the King of the Mountains climb. Nobody's managed to take it away from Edward Kingsley just yet, and I don't think anybody will, to be honest. I think that's a storming time he set there, 19 minutes and 11 seconds. Both those riders from Darlington Cycle Club have put in nearly a minute on all of their rivals up this climb. Paul Best just approaching the summit now. As you can see from the graphic on the right at the top of the screen, some of these riders are already approaching the bottom of this climb. So it's took them nearly 20 minutes to make the climb and around about a minute to actually make the descent. Paul Best there in 23:54, drops him into 19th position on the climb. Good effort there from Paul. We'll jump back to the towards the front of this race. Marcel, 82 kilometers an hour as he makes this descent. He's pretty much on the flat now as he takes his turn left. back under the autobahn into the town on the opposite side of the dual carriageway from what we went out on, heading back towards the Zwift Hotel. Completed 17.1 kilometres of this 24-kilometre course. Past the stadium on the left and the hotel just approaching on the roundabout just in front. They will take a left at the hotel. They will do a loop round the back and then approach the start-finish line once they've completed this flat section. The 2018 UCI World Championships was obviously won by Alessandro Valverde from Spain. He took the climb. Looks like Sarah Hamilton took the King of the Mountains the Queen of the Mountains in the ladies' competition. These riders will now, most of these will be back into the town, the front of this event. Edward Kingsley there, around about a minute to 2 minutes behind Marcel. Got it in his legs to reel Marcel in before they get to the end of this race. We will see Howie Murray around about 15 seconds behind Edward. The top 10 riders in this event so far have been very consistent. It's been the same top 10 that have just alternated their positions. Not much between them. You could literally throw a blanket over their overall times at the end of this event. Adam Brooks has put in a strong performance there. By looking at that, he's still within the top flight of this event. Howie there with his aero helmet. Ian Johnson from Manila. All these riders have been doing phenomenally well over the last few weeks. We appreciate their support that they've put into the events, the time that they've taken and the training that they've done. Without the riders, obviously the events wouldn't be anything. So we do appreciate them all, from everyone from Manilla Cycling. We appreciate everyone taking part. We appreciate the efforts that have gone in behind the scenes to make these events possible. And hopefully soon we can have a return to outdoor competition. In the meantime, we will continue with our Zwift efforts. Maybe put on a couple of one-day races. So keep your eyes open on our Facebook and YouTube channels for updates as to what the club's doing and how we're going about what we're doing. We'll jump back towards the front of this race now, as Marcel will be making his way towards the finish. He's around about 6 minutes from the finish of this event. We have one sprint section here. I don't think these riders will be interested in that. But it's alongside the river, and it stops as they get to the Neon Bridge. So they're currently riding and dropping through the town and heading towards the sprint, where they'll then turn across the river and head back towards the start-finish area. So he's now alongside the river. Start-finish line is just on the other side of this river. And he has a bit of a detour to take to get there. So this is the sprint segment coming up now. There'll be a green dotted line over the road, as there is with every segment on Zwift. There's that green dotted line there. Marcel not changing his power output, maintaining his effort. The green banner across the road, and then under the Neon Bridge. Sprint time there was 23:55. Give us an idea of how much these riders have got left in the tank, as to how much power they're putting out to maintain their average speeds. It'll be around about another 45 seconds before we get any more or cross that sprint line. Marcel just crossing under the Go Zwift Neon Bridge, where he will do a U-turn onto the bridge and cross the river again. He's now around about 1.5 to 2 minutes away from the start-finish line. And he will give us our first benchmark time. Rick King from MTS there, his time for that sprint was 23.9. So these riders are still going all out. Another rider just crossed the sprint line there. Was Jack van der Werf. He put in 24:88. Not far now, around about 40 seconds, 50 seconds away from completing his 24-kilometre lap. Back through the town. Not far from Marcel now, past the original meet-up point, into the Bordens, and he's just had his banner there on the right hand side telling him he had 500 to go. That is 300. $100 to go as he's into the final hoardings and crosses the line to give us an overall time of 38:52. Takes the lap record and a well-earned rest. So we've got Rick King will be next one in, with Jake van der Werf following close behind. Howie Murray there jumped into third place on that sprint segment of 23.72. So putting in a phenomenal effort for his sprint segment there. Marcel's obviously got the orange jersey next to his name there, which signifies he's got the fastest lap time. Rick King goes in 39.58. Provisional results, obviously these will be verified by Zwift Insider segment from banner to banner. The overall lap's 23.6 kilometres long. Coming into the final. That time there for Rick King drops him into third of 40 minutes and 37 seconds. I'm going to drop back to Edward Kingsley from Durham, from Darlington Cycling Club. He took the King of the Mountains jersey off the back of Marcel. Can he take the lap banner as well? See where this will put him overall. He did go faster up the climb. Whether Marcel's managed to reel the rest of the time back on the descent, we'll find out now. It's certainly a strong time, and we'll put him in second position at the minute, just 4 seconds behind Marcel. Phenomenal effort from them two riders there. Any riders that have any ideals on getting in that top spot have got very tough times to beat. Howie Murray laying it all out, with his time dropping him into 6th position of 40 minutes and 48 seconds. Phenomenal effort. We'll drop back to Sarah Hamilton. Obviously Sarah took the polka dot jersey for the climb for the Queen of the Mountains. See where this drops her in the overall standings. That yellow beacon in the background there is obviously Adam Brooks, around about 30 seconds behind Sarah. And just coming into the final 100 metres of this section, through the hardens, through the boards. See what sort of time Sarah can set. A 43.07, and Sarah takes the lap record for the ladies. See if she can hang on to either of those jerseys. We've got Adam Brooks now coming up, chasing Ian Johnson from Manilla. Little internal battle from Manilla there, with Ian taking a 42.54 and Adam a 43.20. So Howie Murray comes out on top for this event so far for Manilla Cycling, placing 4th currently with a 40.48. The next Manilla rider will be Paul Best, just coming through the town now. A few riders behind Paul there. We've got David Quinn, John Horlock from Cleveland Wheelers, Tim Nicol from Bladen Cycling Club, and Ian Katz from VO2 Max. These riders are all within 30 seconds of each other. and then a further 30 seconds back on that. We have Steve Tilley from Cleveland Wheelers, and then a few minutes behind that we've got Owen Newbury, Jason Shipton and Cheryl Murray. Paul's put in some good performances over the last few weeks. Not just here to make the numbers up. See where that drops him into the overall positions in 12th to 44.38. Excellent effort there. We'll drop back to Steve Tilley from Cleveland Wheelers. Just coming into the last few hundred metres of this event. Obviously, as riders leave the event and leave the circuit, the leaderboard will decrease. We've got Tim Nicol gone over in 44.57 there, and Steve Tilley's gone over in 45 and 19. Next two riders in will be Owen Newbury and Jason Shipton, with Cheryl Murray from Stockton Wheelers just behind them two. We've got Darren Pine just coming through past Cheryl Murray there. A Cleveland Wheeler overtaking a Stockton Wheeler. And then just behind Cheryl, 20 seconds down the road, we've got James Mayo from Stockton Wheelers. Looks like Cheryl Murray's just inherited the King of the Mountains jersey, which means that Sarah has logged off. So she will probably also take the female lap record. And she does there, she takes the female lap record and the orange jersey for that lap as well. With her time of 47 minutes and 10 seconds. Owen Newbury was 46 minutes 53, with Jason Shipton 46 minutes 52. Not much between those two riders at all. 1 second was the overall time. James Dytham from VO2 Max Race Team. Pocketfuls of ride-ons there. We've still got quite a few riders left to come in, around about 20 riders still out on course. We'll catch up with most of these as they cross the line. David Grant from Stockton Wheelers. We've got just behind him, we've got Caroline Cunningham from NTR, Colin Hogan, Nick Priest from Manilla Cycling, and Gary Sibbs from Manilla Cycling as well. David Grant crosses the line there in 49 minutes and 2 seconds. All out effort there from the Stockton Wheelers rider, with Nick Priest and Gary Sibbs from Manilla about to cross the line as well. These riders have all put in phenomenal efforts, and we appreciate their efforts that they've put in, the time that they've taken. This will about sum us up for the rest of this event. There's young Matthew Best there from Manilla, just coming back into the town. Hot on his heels there, looks like it's Vanessa Cox from Manilla. Just about to pass Matthew and scoot through the screen. That's Vanessa there on the right, with Matthew in his familiar camouflage kit. This is Vanessa Cox from Manilla. Not far to go now, she heads back through the town. Crossing the cobbles and the rattle of the cobbles through the town centre. As these riders cross the line, we've got Nick Priest in front of Gary Sieves from Manilla Cycling. Out of the seat and sprinting. Gives him a time of 51:08. Nearly an hour's worth of riding these riders have done. Dave Jeffrey just on the little kicker 8% climb as he comes up to the start-finish area. Maybe having a few problems there. It looks like he's stopped out on course. But Matthew Best with Vanessa Cox. Vanessa will be catching up to the point where Dave is at the side of the road. Maybe he's had a bit of a technical issue. He's back underway now. Still got Marcel's time there on the left, 23:55 for the sprint, with Howie Murray jumping up into second place as the riders that have already logged off drop out of that sprint segment. Matthew Best has leapfrogged Vanessa there again as they've started this little climb. Obviously Matthew is one of our junior riders from Manilla. Very lightweight rider, so the climbs suit him well. That about wraps up our event for this evening. So thank you very much for your time, your listening, and keep your eyes on our Manilla page. Like and subscribe. And keep your eyes open for any new content.